The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. Neo-diplomacy is the new currency. The reason that I can say that is you have a couple of different factors occurring right now as we speak on the world stage. The dollar is being disrupted. Nations are no longer wanting to engage with the United States. But the third factor that affects each and every one of us is that there is a diaspora from the African continent that's willing and able to engage our brothers and sisters on the continent.
Every journey begins with a simple act of care. For Quest to Unite Africa, that journey started with something simple: a mother, a newborn, and a promise that no life would be forgotten. We did not begin with buildings, we began with people. We packed mother newborn kits with our own hands because real change starts where the need is greatest. Those kids traveled farther than we imagined, and they opened our eyes to a deeper truth. Aid saves lives, but infrastructure saves generations. So we grew. Together with donors, volunteers, and partners, we sent a medical container to Burkina Faso. Not just supplies, but hope. Not just boxes, but proof that when a community comes together, healing moves across borders. That moment changed us because we realized something powerful. We weren't just delivering help, we were building a future. Now the journey continues. The next chapter is bigger than a shipment, bigger than a campaign. We are raising funds to build a state-of-the-art hospital, a place where mothers can give birth safely, where families can find care close to home, and where communities can grow stronger for generations to come. This hospital is not just a structure, it's a promise. A promise that healthcare will no longer be temporary. A promise that dignity will have a permanent home. And just like every step before, we cannot do this alone. Every gift, every brick, every name placed on the founder path becomes part of a story that began with compassion and is growing into legacy. It helps us move from emergency aid to lasting healing, from containers to care that never leaves, from vision to reality. Join us, stand with us, help us build a hospital that will serve generations, moving healthcare into action. Visit q2ua.org today.
Okay, here we go. Shalom, salama, siemi, shalom. Greetings to all my Israelite brothers and sisters from around the world, whether you're of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the house of Israel, or you're a Gentile grafted into the house under the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. I welcome you this morning. Oh, what a beautiful morning. No, it's a good morning. I apologize for the delays. I had to send out some emails that I did not. You have to get information if information comes in the middle of the night, which a lot of times it does. This morning I got up relatively in a decent manner. The night before I only had about 3.5 hours worth of sleep, and that was intermittent. There are some things I had to take care of yesterday. The Most High had given me that extended favor. Extended. There are still things that I need to get done on that end, but you have to go through things and you have to walk through things and you have to understand how things are looking, and you also have to make sure that you are verifying things. So what I've been doing is verifying a couple of different things on the background, um, because things are moving, and I did give that preface that my schedule is a little will probably be a little wonky as I'm getting some things moving in the background, which it is a benefit to our community, and it extends about it extends beyond our community, and I say this because I want us to understand, even though we're awakened, we still have family that's not awakened, and I get it. We have all gone through that struggle. We're all really being the guardian redeemers for our family, just as Yahushua is a guardian redeemer for all of Yasharel. That's how that happened. In this time frame, our witness is what the Most High has put on us to declare. Now, good, bad, and different. If people get mad, they're going to get mad because you're giving them the truth. That's how that goes. We've all gone through this, every single one. You open up your mouth and you're going to testify. Because why? Because everybody is up in here with a spirit of confusion. The whole world is confused. What's happening? How's it happening? What's going on? You're still buying from people that don't like you. You're still trading from people that said that they will literally invade you. What's happening? What's going on? Oh, well, it's just all political. It's all political, right? It's all political until people get invaded. Because why? Because the intent is you're not going to tell the masses that you're in a crisis. I have in my thumbnail the three crew, the 3-2-1. People are talking about this. I said, let me see what's going on with this. 3 crude barrels equals 2 barrels of gas, which equals 1 diesel, 1 barrel of diesel. Why is that important? Why is that formula important? Well, here's the thing. When you just like when you drive a car, when you have transportation of any sorts, that transportation is not an endless amount of energy, unless you're that one inventor out there in I think was it either Zimbabwe or Nigeria. Our brother had invented the car that was based on solar and free electrons, endless supply of energy. In today's world, they're trying to make energy finite. And the manner of what and how things had been, I'll always look at it like this: our technology is terrible. It's crappy compared to the technology of what was in, honestly, our forefathers' generations. Just think about that. If our forefathers' generations had impressive technology, to the masses, would you tell them that they had impressive technology and that their technology here is a suppression of that technology? You would say no. No, because why? Because the narrative is to control the masses. How are they controlling the masses? They want to control the masses through what? Religion. We already know that. They're already telling you, oh, yeah, if you're looking at things in the catacombs, if you have access to any of these scrolls, why? Because they have these technologies. They're utilizing those technologies against who? It's been against us. Can you not tell? Can you not understand how they have been trying to reverse engineer and utilize those things to what? To keep us away from the continent? Not just to keep us away from the continent, but to utilize and exploit the resources and raw materials from the continent. Thank you, Cynthia. I appreciate it. Yes, Maxwell Chinkumbutsu. I hope I did not mispronounce it. Sorry, Maxwell. That's what they're afraid of. They're afraid of engineering capacity because why? Because the whole target audience of us is to have a dumbed down audience of our oppressors. Sorry, Gentiles, listen, because I'm trying to explain something to you because knowledge is power. Knowledge is understanding. Wisdom is understanding. The fear of Yahuwah leads you to what? Wisdom and understanding and knowledge. We just read that in Proverbs chapter 1. That's free for everybody, whether you're an Israelite or you're a Gentile. Uh-oh. The problem is, especially in these Gentile spaces, is that we have been telling the Gentiles, but they've neglected to answer the call, and now they're dealing with their decisions. I can't help you. I can only lead you to the water. I can't have you drink the water. That choice is up to you. I can only lead you to the truth. I can't have you accept it and decide it. No, we're gonna have the greatest nation. No, we're this, we're that. No, we're this, we're. I want you to understand, and I'm gonna bring up this clip, and there's a reason I'm bringing this up in terms of the sports world, the sports arena. What does sports have to do with anything? What do Gentile sports? Because I have to have you come down to memory lane on this. This is the Athletic from the New York Times, and this is just showing that the United States got beat by Belgium 4-1. Now I want to tell you a little bit about this game, because sometimes you're not seeing an outcome. You may get drawn on the context and the pretext that they are trying to utilize depending on things. Now, the reality is, I'm a soccer fan. I've been watching the World Cup in earnest since like 2006. That was kind of my soccer journey. You know, don't ask me. I can, I can have touches on the ball. I'm pretty decent on a pickup game, and not in a competitive game. I found that out the hard way. My son, on the other hand, he does his thing. Now, what has happened? Now, Mr. G, I don't know if I don't think America has taken him out. I think he's in hiding because that dude had been subjected to like 3 assassination attempts. He just needs to go to Burkina Faso. He just needs to go to Burkina Faso. Yeah, and I could tell a lot of our people have not been paying attention. Yes, basically, more. I think it's like more than half of America's players are they're people of color. I think like maybe 33%, maybe a third are black folks or African Americans or have African American descent. And in this game, the person that scored, whose name was Tillman, he was and it's interesting because his father is an African American serviceman. He was born in Germany. He stayed in Germany. You stay in an area that's all they play is soccer. You're going to be a good soccer player. And now Tillman, this brother is good. He played for Bayern Leverkusen, and they won the German Bundesliga. That's their equivalent to their top tier professional cup. They won it. It was like last year. They had a phenomenal season, and he was instrumental to that. Now, let me kind of give you the pretext to this game because 4-1 doesn't necessarily cover what the score line is indicating here. This game was a little bit more than just the game. This game was an actual display of American arrogance. And I'm going to tell you this because what ended up happening was that the last team that they played before Team USA played, before they played Belgium, they won 2-0. It was a good win. And in the win, you if you get a red card, that's an automatic suspension for the next game. That's just how it goes. One of the players, his name was Fullerin Balogun, and they called him Flo for short. He is a Nigerian American, United States born Nigerian American that also lived in the UK. Don't ask me. But because of birthright citizenship, he was able to have his status as an American citizen, even though he grew up in the UK, to play for Team USA. And I get it because the UK has a lot of soccer players there. Now, what ended up happening was that during the Bosnia and Herzegovina game, Balogun received a red card. And it was a red card because it was a pretty nasty offense, even though it was not intentional. It wasn't intentional. It's just that when you have your studs that high, and they play with metal studs, it's metal. These aren't plastic cleats. It's kind of like it's kind of like an in between football cleats and track spikes for your international cleats, your international footwear. And and what that does, it provides better traction to the grass and things of that nature. Yeah, it could be equivalent to baseball spikes, Minister Rick. But what ended up happening was that the offense was a red card offense. The offense did warrant an actual suspension, even though, the intent wasn't to hurt the player. He was trying to play the ball. It was still a red card because of how he came up on the player's leg. He could have broken that player's leg. So when people are looking at things, because again, you don't have a lot of people understanding the game of soccer, let alone have they ever played soccer here in the United States. I played soccer when I was young, I think in the ages of 9, 10 years old. My mom had me on out there playing soccer on a large adult field, and I quickly got tired of that, and I think I quit mid-season. All I remember was I was in my little yellow and maroon Glassboro Parks and Rec jersey going over to Winona in South Jersey. And I was just running forever. And I had no stimulation to that. So basketball I did. Yeah, I played soccer. But what ended up happening was that because again, Balogun was his best was Team USA's best player. And I go off of my son's expert advice because he has a couple of different um people, colleague, or people he trains with and things of that nature, and colleagues and friends that actually do play um professional soccer. And my son's at the semi-pro level trying to go on up. And they were all saying like, yeah, that was a warranted red card, and this was an actual deal. Did that put Team USA at a disadvantage? Absolutely, it did. But here's the problem. You know that the US can never do anything in grace. What Donald Trump did last week was that he called Infantino, which is the president of FIFA. And FIFA's always been like broiled in scandal and corruption. Don't get it twisted. Trust me, I understood. I saw that firsthand in terms of construction of different stadiums over in Qatar, where the Pakistanis, Indians, Filipino were literally being encased in those stadiums. Yeah, look, what OSHA violations? Work stoppage? What work stoppage? Keep pouring the concrete. That brother's just gonna be a relic. My man's gonna be a relic. Yes. So when Trump had called, Trump, he has to have the bravado. Oh, this ref made a bad call. It's such a bad call. Who even knows who this guy is? You always have to demean, right? That's what it is. You have to do character assassination. Who's this person? Who's this? So everybody knows, okay, we know where this is going. At the end of, his tirade, FIFA grants the suspension of the red card. You got to remember when I was explaining what was going on with it's not just sports. Sports is supposed to be, right? That's supposed to be their one leveling aspect. Look, I don't care how big you think you are, how grand you think you are. If you can't compete on the actual soccer field, or if you can't compete in the Olympics, and everything that he does and states of, oh, Americans will, we have all these Olympic medals. Okay. I don't have a graphic, but I wish I did. How many of those Olympic medals are won by Americans of African descent? The people that he purportedly doesn't like. The people that this economy, this K-shaped economy, and underemployed or even unemployed African Americans are being affected. Oh, and those that they're not even trying to count the numbers anymore because it's so atrocious. Let's just call it what it is. Because I'm going to start to get to what happens when you try to hide things. Because the more you try to hide things, the worse it's going to get. And yes, Cynthia, sore loser in every single way. Yes, absolutely. So what ended up happening was that after that red card was lifted, even FIFA officials were like, nobody told us. That came from the top. UEFA, which is their European Football Federation, they lodged a lawsuit. And what that did is it actually discredited the game of football. It actually discredited this tournament. And really, because the worst thing about all this, oh, and I wish I could show you that interview for the press conference that Trump did, and it was very abysmal. He stuck his foot in his mouth. It was very abysmal. Well, it's two great athletes and two great and I just think he had a bad call and I wanted to say, hey, please look into this and everything else. I'm sure he didn't say that. But he said, but if it came back and it didn't go our way, I would just say that it was rigged. Do you see what I've been saying, how the system works in vanity? How do you have a conversation with people like that? You actually can't. You get to a point in time where it's like their conscience is seared. They can't even talk. They can't even discuss anything. And guess what's going to end up happening? The people are going to start fighting. This is where this is at. Oh, our UK correspondent is here. How are you braving the weather? Because it's hot out here. It's hot, Chia. Shalom, Sister Chantel.
Shalom. Hello to everyone. Shalom to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Oh gosh, I just heard about, do you know, I have not been following the game. You know, I just stopped. I just couldn't be bothered anymore. But one thing I did hear about, I think you were just talking about it because I literally just turned on now, was Trump trying to sway FIFA to drop what's his face's red card. I'm like, are you what?
Yeah. I mean, like, it's not even. It's like somebody getting kicked on out and suspended for fighting. Oh, he didn't mean to fight. He didn't mean to do all that. Well, that's the same thing. And the funny thing is, what that's showing is there is no sanctity in anything that they hold as a high regard. Trump destroyed all that.
Well, you realize it's literally what the scriptures say. It's lawlessness. Not even the little laws, not even in a tournament can you even respect. This is a game that is loved worldwide, and you're hosting it, and you can't even show a little bit of decorum. You can't even show that you have a slight amount of decency. You
and he destroyed it. Oh, and he destroyed it. He destroyed the decorum. He destroyed it.
He really has. You guys don't, and I want to say you guys because I don't even call you American because we know you're not. But these America just looks bad, like really bad on the world stage. It's like we can't even have a friendly. We can't even do anything with you. There's nothing that we can do with you that on any level. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
What did that indicate to the rest of the world? I don't know if you saw the interview, because when Trump said, he said, well, if it didn't turn out our way, we would just say that everything is rigged.
I didn't see that, but I heard you just say that, and I was like, it goes back to what is it, January 6th? Everything's rigged when it doesn't go their way, when they tread in villainy. But when the righteous do what is right, and they still do things to literally put us at a disadvantage. And now when I say us, I'm not just talking about just Yashara. I'm not just talking about us. I mean just good people in general.
Worldwide.
Right?
Yep. Worldwide.
Exactly. And even decent Gentiles within your space who are like, this is wrong, who stand up and say, no, this is wrong. Like, they are now the ones that are showing that they're now being, it's just, it's crazy. It is really crazy. And then what I found really funny, though, was what was happened. Was it on the Independence Day? Was it on Saturday? What happened on Saturday? Like, everything just went bad. Like, nothing went well. Nothing went their way. And it's like, it kind of, again, if you don't know scriptures, you're just going to just be like, oh yeah, it's going back. But as we look at everything that's happening, it is a nation that is literally falling on its face, and nothing they do will ever prosper. It's kind of like, it's what we went through.
Yes.
Everything we did literally fell flat.
They have the curse. Tag, you're it. Look, and
potato.
Because I'm looking at some of the comments, and I'm going to tell you this: the U.S. soccer team especially with our African American brothers on there. Um, they're actually really good. A lot of them playing a lot of the top leagues over in Europe.
Yeah.
They do. And you know the crazy thing about it is there were folks that they didn't even play. They were playing crappy people. For real, they were playing crappy people.
It was set up that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it
Yeah.
was set up to get um, the US team in the finals. I really do believe that. You're not going to prosper.
Mm-hmm.
Thieves are not going to prosper. Not now. You those blessings that, and really and truly, sorry to cut you, but I just wanted
Go
to
ahead.
say, really and truly, it is not. Uh, they they were not. It's not a blessing. It was never a blessing. It was like we was in light and we was taken out of light and put in darkness, and in the absence of light we've been in darkness. This is their domain. This is this is their domain, right? This is where they do their best work, in darkness. So we was, and the thing is, like, the most high never, we never had our gifts removed. I need everyone to understand that. If you don't understand that, that is fact. Our gifts were never removed. If that was the case, you wouldn't have been able to build the way you built. You would not have been able to contribute and to be everything that you've been, and for these people to literally siphon off everything from you. You did not lose your gifts and the talents that the Most High gave you. That wasn't it. The
Mm-mm.
problem was is that the protection that we all had was removed. So we was now in darkness. They dwell in darkness, and that was their blessing, to have a people that has no more protection on them, so that they can then use our gifts to their benefit. That was their blessing. But it's not a blessing to constantly be at war. Like, you realize that we're literally, this is Game of Thrones. All these entities that sit, these entities, these principalities that sit on these nations, are nothing more than, it's literally the Game of Thrones, and each one of them is fighting to try to have dominance.
Mm-hmm.
America now, she's lost her crown. She's losing her crown, and everybody is literally blood in the water. So it's like you never had your gifts taken away. If that was the case, Satan wouldn't have the power that he has. He just wouldn't, because the Most High would have taken his gifts away. He still has those, right? Which is why he has plunged the world into so much, you know, into so much. But it's like they can no longer use our gifts for their benefit, and that's simply it. Because we're no longer in darkness, the light has been revealed, and with that light, us being the light, has shone everything, and the whole world is looking like, oh, is that what you were like? Oh, so the world is now seeing it for themselves.
Foreign policy, right? Any type of interactions that you have at high level interactions, this is it. Oh, well, I didn't get my way, so I'm going to cry. Or if I don't get my way, then I'm going to delete you.
Mm.
This is what, when people say, well, I don't know how, America, this and that, and why didn't our people just do things just like this? Why didn't Africa stand on up? Because let me tell you this, the bully in Africa was also being bullied.
Mm.
It's hard for people to understand that. You mean Europeans were being bullied? Yes, they were. You think that this world was working with just niceties and platitudes? Get out of here. That's what they wanted you to think, that it was a Disney. Everybody kumbaya. Okay. Because everybody was visiting and doing some unscrupulous activities. Let them e-files Them e-files will let you know. Oh, you want to have some influence? You want to have some power? You better eat these code word statements. That's how the world worked. That's why this is the end of the influence. Because why? Because now this is Obadiah. Babylon's exposed.
Yeah.
The system is being exposed globally on one of the biggest platforms in the world, and he just showed everybody how America works. Oh man, is America really our friend? We've been telling you. I thought America was our friend. I thought. We don't want to laugh, but
4-1 is disastrous. I'm not even going to play. That's not good.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that must really hurt for a very proud and arrogant and conceited nation. Again, you guys know, when I say this, I'm not talking about our people. We're talking about it's specifics. We know who we're talking about. But for that nation, that's a hard pill to swallow,
Mm-hmm.
especially to Europeans.
Yeah, of European descent. Here in the United States, absolutely. And the reality is that this is one of the most expensive World Cups, the most inaccessible World Cups. It was in a time where this is a very big divisions. Look, when you have internal divisions and when your internal divisions become external, it's over with. I was telling this, and it's funny because when for this whole diagram and framework I'm laying on out, when people are like, hey, well, the World Cup and the gas prices are going down and everything else. You remember I had said this. I said, listen, they're bringing the gas prices down because they have the World Cup going on. They don't want to try to embarrass themselves that they're fighting a war in Iran with an MOU that was just a memorandum of understanding. That was just bull. There was nothing on paper. You now have a couple of you have I think they said 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz that came under fire just recently.
So, while this was going on?
Oh, yeah, no. It's purported that they're going to get ready. The U.S. is going to get ready to host that leader from that Eastern Mediterranean nation probably sometime soon. They're not going to have them while, or maybe they will. Maybe they will because they want to. They'll probably do that to show dominance and arrogance. You already know that because you already know who controls everything. Because why? Because the center of attention on that final, whoever plays in that final, and you know what's gonna happen. And I'm gonna tell you this. My personal opinion. I pray that Spain makes it to the final.
Spain and whom?
I don't even care. The reason I pray that Spain makes it to the final because Spain is the number one opponent to that Eastern Mediterranean nation.
That is true. That is true.
You see what I'm saying? You see that calculus?
It's amazing that we're having this kind of conversation, even just what you just said. In about before we woke up, you would never in a million years believe that this would be so. You would never presume that they would have this animosity for one another. You just wouldn't. And yet we're seeing this is literally Joel chapter 3.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming. I'm going to bring these nations against one another,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, hallelujah, because they are doing the Most High's will. They really are. All Spain needs to do now is be like, well, actually, the Inquisition we had here, yeah, it weren't you.
Isn't
All
that
they need to do.
isn't that amazing that Spain has actually stood up? Because you got to remember, and I know where you're. Oh, sorry to cut you off, but I know where you're going with this. But isn't that amazing that they're the ones that actually understand all of the history and they're
Hmm.
standing up?
Hmm. Look, their streets have the history. There's no way they can escape it. You can
Hmm.
try and hide it and everything, but it's like it's too late to hide. They know that we know, and it's just like the Middle East know that we know. They've opened up their mouth and they've said what they've been saying. They said it years ago when what's his name, Pastor what's his name, Pastor Omar, I've forgotten his name. Right,
Tebow,
when yeah, he said it. He showed the letter.
the
So
bishop, it's Bishop Tebow,
yeah,
the bishop.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So it's like they've been saying it. Now it's like we're just like, I'm just looking at Spain like, do you have something to get off your chest? Come on now, let it
Yeah,
out.
it's a mea culpa, right? It's a confession. You see what I'm saying? Because again, who generates the most funds and influence from the sub-Saharan continent? That is Spain.
Mm-hmm.
Spain is a transfer station into Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So if your transfer station is getting messed up because the goods are then going to be priced at that port of entry, Spain's taking a hit.
Indeed.
Everything is expensive. They got to take that tariff hit for the EU.
Spain can't
Why?
afford it.
Exactly. Why do you think they're now mad? Why do you think? Look, everybody is mad at America because America drove up prices. We were telling people this. Racism doesn't pay.
How many times have I said that when this thing goes down, it's going to be based on economics? It's got nothing to do with let's do the right thing. You don't have that in your. You don't have a right bone in your body. This has got nothing to do with. Oh, I'm talking collectively because I'm not going to talk bad about the few that do have are decent human beings, but collectively, these people don't have a good bone in their body. It's all about resources. It's all about economics. It's about uh, America's messing with our bag. We need to sort this out. We don't have like America messed with the Nord Stream pipeline. They tried to mess with the pipeline to Turkey, and then on the basis that they thought that they could uh, squeeze Africa, you know, and Niger was like, nah, and Burkina Faso was like, nah, no, that's not happening.
It
That's not happening.
backfired. It backfired.
I'm
It did.
telling you, in all their calculations, they never once saw this happening. That's what's so beautiful about it. They never saw this happening while they had their little dirty dreams about conquering the reconquering of Africa. They never once thought that this would ever happen. This is why it's so beautiful. Why I'm literally, I don't care the vision. I am salivating when I think about it.
Let's recalculate. Let's understand this because Sister Chantel is making a great point. So I want to revisit that because again, um, yeah, it's soccer, but it's not just soccer. Okay, this is where what happened right after the 1936 Olympics. I know somebody had brought that on up. Shortly thereafter, war was declared.
Mhm.
Right?
Oh, look, somebody already said that's you say soccer, but I'm going to say football
Football,
is
football.
yeah, football is war without the casualties in terms of without the The instruments of war. I'm sorry, I'm just losing my thing. But yeah, it's war. It's war without guns and whatnot. Oh, sorry. Ugh. It's war without machinery,
Mm-hmm.
basically. You know. So it's just two opposing nations and a ball. It's war. It's war. That's why so many emotions are tied to it.
Mm-hmm.
National pride.
It is. It is. And going back, going back because you had made an interesting point. And I'm gonna get you on, Minister Rick. Because a lot of our people forget what did they try to do, the West particularly. Not even that. What happened last year? Remember the general of AFRICOM that they replaced? What were they trying to do in AFRICOM? They were trying to have an invasion. They were
They
literally
wanted a
talking about it.
foothold. They were
Yeah,
trying to get a foothold in Africa. Hmm.
yes. It was the 4-star Marine general. I forgot what his name was. They got rid of him
Oh, he's
because they
gone
were.
now. He
Yeah,
served his purpose.
yeah, they got rid of him last year. And they were like, oh yeah, we got to have influence on the continent, and that backfired completely. Remember, they were trying to stand up ECOWAS to go into Burkina Faso and Mali and Niger. That backfired completely.
Everything they do. Oh, if they can't see that they're under these curses now.
It, that all backfired, I laugh because we can't forget the what they have tried to calculate, and their calculus has been all wrong. Go ahead, Minister Rick. Shalom.
Oh, shalom. Yeah, it was these echoes of history. Uh, well, Hitler, I guess, wanted to use
I don't
the
know if we're allowed to say that on this channel.
I
You have to
you
say
know
mustache man.
that, that,
Mustache
that
man.
the mustache man. That caught me. I had that thought in my head, and I didn't go with my first. They said maybe you ought to couch that in a euphemism. Well, yeah, the mustache man wanted to use that as a showcase for Aryan supremacy,
Mm-hmm.
and he really, and even he didn't interfere with the officials
No.
try and rig it for the German athletes. But again, this all the media is just uh, placing this thing, making this whole World Games a showcase for Babylon. You know, trying to get
Mm-hmm.
Babylon lost PR with the world, trying to buy back soft power. Say, oh, come here, look at the food, look at the. Oh, they're just thrilled about all the stuff we have here and all the materialism and things. It's like they're trying to corrupt the world. And for the Orange Man to do that, to leave a taint, and I'm not hearing from many European. I'm watching this Belgium team, but that's key about Spain. Spain is so key. They stood up. They they're they had the prelude to World War II, the Spanish Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
and they know what fascism is like.
Looks like.
What
Yep.
that for them to stand up, it's so symbolic. And the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, we're just on the sidelines with our popcorn, looking at the Most High, because you can't write this stuff, but He already did in the Bible, and we're reading the prophecy, and you're seeing how He acts it out. And you were talking the other day about things don't go as I would go and things, and I'm doing it. You're literally being dragged along by the Most High and just put in place. Do this, and we're just following instructions.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Paint by the numbers that the Most High has told us.
But the funny thing is, Spain started all of this. Actually, no,
Yeah.
it was Portugal. No, it was actually it was
It was
Spain. It
Spain.
was Spain
It was
and then
Spain.
Portugal. So it has to end
Well,
with them.
let's go back to the mechanics here. Okay. It was Rome that started it. Don't get it twisted. It was Rome
That's
that
true.
started it.
That's true.
But
Rome
Spain,
gave the
but
edict.
yes.
Spain carried it
But
out.
Spain was the ones that had first carried it out. And then because Spain and Portugal were literally
Yeah, it wasn't in
familial.
Portugal. Yeah, Portugal. Yeah.
Yeah, then that carried over to Portugal. Portugal made things worse, and then it carried over to France. France made things worse, and then it all carried out. It wasn't just a Spanish Inquisition; it was actually European on at
Yes.
all levels. It's just that you're right. The farther you get away from the epicenter, right? The sentiment wasn't as strong. And don't get it twisted. The reason that they were doing all of that was because there was an influential power with the descendants of Yahya ben Negro, right?
Yeah.
Israelites, those Yasharel, those Yahudim, those Yahudin. Because why? Because they were the businessmen.
Yes. The merchants.
They were the mercantile class. Why? Because they could go on down to West Africa, break bread with our cousins, our brothers,
Mm-hmm.
our family, our brothers and sisters, our family, and then bring up goods.
Mm-hmm.
And they could navigate the Atlantic.
Mhm.
And again, it's always about resource. It's economics. It's jealousy. This is exactly how it all started in heaven, anyway.
Mhm.
Well,
Jealousy because one has something, has the favor that you don't have.
Oh yeah, it's always going to be a war. Exactly. It's always a war because it's always a resource, right? And it's not that the earth doesn't have, the earth has more than enough resources. So people need to stop on that. What it is there's power, there's influence when you're able to do what? When you're able to control and subjugate those resources. This is
It's the ones that don't have the resources, or the resources that contain the most power. They
mm-hmm,
want to monopolize that, and again, it's only to literally gain more power.
mm-hmm.
That's all.
well, you don't. The whole idea is to force an artificial scarcity,
Yes.
gain money from that.
Uh,
God, if we share, God has enough. The Most High has enough resources in it with everybody in the world. If we're able to operate, and the thing is, we operate in a system that's different from that. These nations were of the Holy Roman Empire, and it's the greed is based into their DNA, and it's coming from Esau, it's coming from Ishmael, it's coming from uh, the fallen angels. So it's I'm just stop speaking because it
no,
overwhelms.
you hit an awesome point because that was actually my next transition. That was really my next transition. And you had stated it, and that is the scarcity aspect.
Mhm.
So as we're seeing things going through, what's the biggest scarcity right now?
Well, oil and its products of oil, the fertilizer and everything that comes from the oil. Now, it seems the thing that's most impactful, not to and rare earth metals are also the other things, and just well, all the resources that are in Africa, basically.
Yeah.
So oil shortages, you just had a tanker, an oil tanker that was carrying a ton of crude being attacked. Because why? Because again, what they're trying to do is they're trying to hurry up and push the oil, especially during this time that number one, you have Iran going through their period of mourning, which ends in about 2 more days. You have the World Cup that ends in less than 2 weeks. You have European nations and North American nations that are gearing up for potential reprisals from the United States, or maybe I'm just going to tell you this: maybe we may be looking at it in a completely opposite way. It could be that Europe may declare war on the United States because why? Because they need resources. I don't know if people would have thought about that. That's a simple declaration because, hey, yeah, you want to know what? Trump was running his mouth, and he was what? He was destabilizing everything, including all of these European countries. Do you feel this pain? It's because of Trump. Do you see what Trump is saying? Oh, they got everything rigged, and soccer is one of the most fairest systems. That's what they say. It's the beautiful game. It's the one of the most fairest systems. Not everything is perfect.
Everybody gets a chance to play.
Exactly. The rules are the rules, and these folks are breaking the rules. They broke the rules with our safety and security. I've told you all this. Now, what he did, what Trump did, he showed that on full display to the world.
What's happening, though, the United States basically, I mean, the World Bank was here, International Monetary Fund was here, the whole Bretton Woods structure, the world was set up. It's like people started the U.S. was running the whole casino, and people started to win and do well and work with the system up there, and they just changed the games. Know you're winning, and it shows how corrupt you are, that you never had any attendance. You know, people thought, well, we're going to use the dollar because that's the safest currency. These are the adults in the room. They're saying all this madness in Europe and the whole world was at war, but the stable place was the U.S. So we're just going to base everything over there. And this man, more than anybody else, is blowing that whole confidence, because it was a confidence game. And now the world has the world. He is an existential threat to the world. Existential threat to the world, because if he people saw it's come down to these countries. Hey, it's either me or you. So you got to go.
So I'm going to put this article on out here. It's a little dated, but I want to, if I can get to it. I don't even think I can get to it. No, I couldn't. It was from the Washington Post. But there was a really good one. Give me just a second. But now we're looking at the impacts and the effects of technology. Technology. And I kind of look at these things because even though you were to show somebody what's happening, they won't believe you. Just saying, they won't believe you. Because why? Because they're under such a strong delusion that they cannot truly understand. Because look, whenever you're in a fascist system, which is right now, this is by definition that system. I'm sorry, but it is. I know people don't want to listen to it, and that's okay. You have communism on one side, and then you have fascism on the next. And so which one? Which is it? But I want to show you this. This map was released July 2nd. So this was valid as of June 30th. And if you could tell on the map here, 60%, it's around 60% of the United States is in drought conditions. Yeah, you may have some flooding here and there. And the reason that you have flooding is because if you're in drought, you don't have enough water to have soakage. When you have roots, because of the different ground, not foliage, ground vegetation, that vegetation is able to let the water soak in, because obviously the plants are drinking that up and things of that nature. But if you don't have that, because the plants have basically essentially dried out and died and withered, and then that water is now hard, clay shards. Well, what ends up happening? Now when it does rain, that water is gonna pool, and when it pulls, it's gonna remain stagnant. It actually isn't effective. So you have water, but the effects of that water, yep, yeah, and you all are saying that, yeah, dry land runoff. Absolutely, yeah, blessed Mr. G. So now, this is occurring. Water restrictions are everywhere. And on top of that, you now have data centers. And to me, I can put my tinfoil hat on because, again, nobody wants to state the obvious. They're literally putting in their geotechnical terraformers. Sister Chantel, what say you? I'm going into my sci-fi realm. She may be off. Okay, what about you, Minister Rick? Could that be a fair assessment? These terraformers known as data centers?
Well, there's a number of things that have been going there. You go back to the Georgia Guidestones, getting conspiratorial with you. They talked about eliminating the principalities that govern them, and the satanic ruler over them wants to eliminate mankind. So a lot of things are done to the earth when they're talking about getting rid of carbon dioxide and the plants that kills the plant life.
Mm-hmm.
The things operating on a number of levels, like the Most High, with these data centers, they're doing things detrimental. Digging into the ground. The Bible says rocks cover us. They're doing all types of things to dig it into the ground, and the arrogance. Though I rise up to space, all these things happening. What I see is what's happened in Egypt. There's an escalation of the plagues and pestilences that had to take Egypt out of being a comfort zone, even for the Hebrews in there. Some of the early plagues didn't affect them as much, but you had to get it here. People love Babylon too much. And there are people that cling to this place. So the Most High literally has to make it uncomfortable. In fact, the scriptures say he's going to take it down to the level that no one dwells here. Everybody's going to want to get out. So this is the process of him removing us from our comfort zone. The administration is gearing up and preparing us to make bricks without straw. So it's all the process of Most High. I call it the de-Babylonization that's happening to us, and you alluded to earlier. This is the thing that we must do in our families. That process of de-Babylonization, because although we may physically get out of Babylon, the Bible references Lot and how that he got out of Sodom and Gomorrah, but he did not get Sodom and Gomorrah out of him or his family.
Mm-hmm.
And they were still destroyed.
Yep, and it translated into what? Into Moab, right?
Yep.
Into
two wicked nations,
mm-hmm.
And it all came from his wanting proximity to Babylon,
mm-hmm.
because the angels wanted to take him so far away. Let's get out of here. And he's, that's too far. Can we just get to a close city? So he gets to a close city. They could have gone far enough that his wife couldn't have looked back and seen Babylon. They could have gotten far enough that his daughters could have seen there were other men, and you don't have to do incest with your fathers to preserve the human race. So again, I think that a lot of Hebrews have said, oh, well, our family is going to change. Once we get in the land, you better be working on your family with a testimony, with all these signs and wonders that the Most High is giving now, to let them know doing that. So they're not talking around like FBAs. I'm proud to be in America. that need to be on Kendrick Lamar. They not like us. So that's kind of my rant. Yes, I agree. There's a confluence of things that they're doing, things that the Most High is doing, and the things that we must be doing in this de-Babylonization process that we need to bring to our people.
Mm. Yeah, Anthony Eden had a very loaded question. He said, "What's the difference between man and mankind?" You already know that's loaded. You already know that's a loaded question. You know, I would just say that in light of the cookie back in 2020 and people taking, DNA tests and everything else, a lot of these companies, before they were trying to really regulate the data and the information that was in there, um, there were things popping up that they didn't want, known. And I say for the sake of this channel, because I'm not trying to be suspended around here, because this is YouTube, so we have to be sensitive. Look, they already know. We've talked about this plenty of times with the RH recombinant and all these other these other genetic factors and things of that nature. And to a certain degree, a lot of our people do carry that, because why? Because that was the spoilage that they wanted to do to us, right? Especially in chattel slavery. I'm going to tell you this. You already know that one of the first things that we do when we get on out to the land, you already know we're going to be setting up our own DNA test. We have African ancestry and everything else, and I've done my stuff through African ancestry, so you already know we have the capabilities of doing that. So
Can I add something?
be careful, Sister Chantel, because
I know I'm treading on a landmine here.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say there's been a lot of videos of them doing their DNA still today, and it's coming back as Maribel Dorsey. Is that Maribel? Maribel.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry if I'm okay. So it's coming back with them having that. But what's the shock? It's not the shock of that being in there. It's how close it is with it, or the amount. Like when people are seeing like 50%, or because remember they said, does anybody remember that the white woman?
3%. They were saying it was only
3%,
or less.
but it's coming back like 50 and 70, 80, and even one person said 90 something.
Yeah, let me tell you what's actually happening. This is just my theory. That YouTube, this is educational purposes. This may be fake. Haha, it's fake. Haha, no.
It's fake. Not wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Haha, wink. Okay, so what isn't fake is actually their numbers. What isn't fake is their lack of reproduction and things of that nature. And that's not fake. They know their birth rates are dwindling and declining. Now, the problem that they're having is this. And all right, Father, help me so I can put this together, because I'm not trying to. This isn't to demean anyone. It's not. But I just want to give you the understanding of what biological inferences there are. Okay, so it's like this. Whenever you have a lot of inbreeding, especially with German Shepherds or any other dog species or things of that nature, they become whiter. Okay, that's just how it goes. Don't get mad, but that's just how it goes. And they lose a level of protection because their coats aren't necessarily very strong. They'll have issues and things of that nature. I used to have a white dog, and her name was Lady, and she did succumb. We only had her for like 4 or 5 years, and And the reality is that I didn't know. Actually, you want to know who taught me this? It was my youngest daughter. She was like, "No, Dad, you got to go for this line. You got because she's really into the dogs like that." And I'm like, huh. But let me also tell you about um, when you are also looking at genetics, at a larger scale, and having a host feature. So as you know, and as you can tell, um, viral components can literally mess with your DNA. But the more you are away from that viral component, your DNA will either revert or your DNA could be changed on out to where it's not necessarily as strong and as effective. The loss of efficacy. Because why? Because you have to put something into the DNA pool, the genetic pool. They always try to say you have to have a large genetic pool because why? Because if you don't, especially, and I know this is going to be very controversial, so I'm trying to make sure that I say this as best as I can. Um, studies have proved, they suggest, and even European nations have said this, that if you don't have that genetic pool, that genetic diversity, which is what they want to term it, then your genetic structures start to break down, right? You have the incestisms, but it's not just the incestisms with that, because again, there's a large genetic pool, especially within the West per se, but there's a component of that that is not favorable for reproduction.
Uh, Karis, uh, but you made me think about this genetic aspect. You have Esau, who married into the Ishmaelites, and Horites were
Mm-hmm.
there in his line, and and,
Yes.
and these things happen. To talk about the scientific side from the biblical side. There was a book. I was in the Episcopal Church. We had a Union of Black Episcopalians. We had these conventions. They had this white fellow come named Gutman. He wrote a book, The Black Family and Slavery and Freedom, and his research was impeccable. He documented, but they said that the slaves kept track of their genealogy. I mean, they went. He researched families went back generations, and they nobody uh married a first cousins. They did not intermarry and breed. They said the closest interaction he could find with somebody who was a half brother or sister a couple of generations back. So
Mm-hmm.
inbreeding was anathema to us, any that sort of thing. Even in black
Mm-hmm.
families today, somebody will be, no, you can't mess with that. That's your third cousin, or that's your so and so. So we don't play that. And meanwhile, he was talking about the slave masters. They married their first cousin. So there's an element of degradation, yes, in the DNA. And inbreeding also weakens the mind to the point that if someone is going to be seduced or subjugated or brought into slavery, and their mind is just not can't even contemplate these things, you want a population to reduce in capacity. So there's a confluence of things that are
Oh,
back to the deception.
oh yeah, absolutely. And remember, this is why I always try to tell this to people, because when people are like, well, why do they feel insecure? You have to understand it's actually a byproduct of a genealogical issue that they don't want to disclose. Who would want to disclose that? Hey, I'm scared because I may be genetically wiped out for no fault of my own.
Well,
You
you
know?
the
Yeah, go
power
ahead.
structure under the power structures. They were so worried about keeping the money, the elite, the ruling class. They were so worried about keeping the money in there that they interbred between all these families.
Yeah, and what did they carry? And what did they carry? Hemophiliaism, right?
hemophilia,
Yeah.
all these diseases.
Oh yeah. So I mean, it's not what I'm trying to say. Don't This is not a a racial superiority or anything else. I'm not saying that. I'm not going. I'm not touching that. I am touching what they will say is science, but they don't like science anyway. So I don't know what this could actually what this could actually mean. But what I am telling you is these are the components of their fear, because again, they're operating in fear. And what Trump has been doing is he knows all of these fears. These are okay. These are the discussions that they have at their kitchen tables, and they're bringing it out in the open. That's it. These are those types of discussions. Well, we are at this point in this time. Why do you think that these people are now demonstrating? These
Well,
people are demonstrating. Go ahead, brother.
well, you
Mr. Rick.
can take it out. Race is a false construct. I mean, it's about blood, but uh, you can to take it out away from that. Unless some person be upset because they're talking about a race or be offended. With animals, they'll go to an island. They'll say a species is endangered. We have to go get diversity and breed animals from a number of zoos because the gene pool is so small in this area that species may be wiped out. So they go through their through extraordinary means to bring in diversity. We have to have diversity in this group for them to survive. So when you're racial, when you're trying to, the very thing you do to try and preserve your racial purity is the thing that ultimately destroys you by allowing the degradation of your very being. And that's, I don't want to say it's poetic justice. It's strange because you're doing what these things that the Satanists and the people who are pushed for, the fallen angels, the principalities, ultimately want the destruction of mankind. And you're destroying
Have,
it.
all right. I'm getting some feedback from you, Mr. Rick.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right. So yeah, because the reason, and I say that is, man, this is a very touchy subject. So I'm trying to make sure that I'm yeah, and the Bible did touch on that. Exactly, Brother Maribel. He says the Bible touched on this in the story of Moses. Oh, it wasn't Moses, but it was Jacob and Laban. It was Jacob and Laban when he said, "Okay, I'll take all the spotted ones, and you can take all the unspotted." Well, there was a DNA component to it, and that was really the first story of your genetics and how your genetics work in the Bible. So you're introducing genes or phenotypes that are not necessarily innate, or I would say normal, that wasn't a normal structure to the human body. And now, again, I would say everything that we see in entertainment is what? Predictive programming? No, no, you, Brother Maribel, no, you're coming on out with that fire. It's the truth. Um, but I do want to make sure that our people understand. So think about what it is that they're going to probably say or do within these constructs of survival. Hey, is it just what are the effects of transhumanism? Back in the day, I remember when I was a kid, I had to have been about 7 or 8 years old, and this is when you had, I was heavily into Ninja Turtles. I was about second, third grade, heavily into Ninja Turtles. And you had characters on the Ninja Turtles, right? Yeah, it was gene splicing because it was a secret of the ooze. I mean, this was back in like the late 80s, early 90s, all that good stuff.
Have you finished now?
No, 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 no. I'm putting this
Right, sorry.
together. I'm putting this
I
together
just
because remember, and on the Turtles, you had it was actually gene splicing as you know, but it was a secret of the ooze and all these other things going on, right? And then you had the enemies of the Ninja Turtles who were what? Bebop and Rocksteady. Bebop and Rock.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, okay. But what that
Okay, that's great, right?
okay, but what that is, but to me, what that suggests was this. What that suggests was this. It suggested this. All right. I believe, just in my opinion, I believe that our generation, or at least my generation, was targeted for, the introductions of these systems because when there is a component that's now going to really be not there anymore, and I've been looking at some of these videos. I think it was like a UPNY TV or something like that. I forgot this person's name, but she takes a look at her DNA, and in her DNA she has a little bit of Native American, Black, and some Hispanic, and she was taking a look because she said, she was breaking down a very big demographic. She said, yeah, a lot of white people are surprised, Caucasians are surprised that, they have, DNA of African DNA or African ancestry. And then she said, and conversely, a lot of black folks are surprised that, 35% of us have European ancestry. And I mean, on this channel, that's I've touched on this before, but let me tell you why this is so pertinent now. Because again, what and how you this to me is like the ultimate shut off, right? Hey, if we know we're going to lose, we're going to lose all the way. We're going to lose. So we're going to lose to the point of and the point of where this thing is going to start looking um like Resident Evil. You see what I'm saying? And if it doesn't look like Resident Evil, it's going to look like Planet of the Apes. To me, at least, because think about this. They love science, right? Science is their God. And if their God says, hey, I will save you if you are transhumanized into this or to that. I don't think it's all about just the technological robotics there. I also think that, you know, it's also going to be about combining human DNA with animal DNA. And I know that there are some studies that suggested that China was already doing this. And it caused a couple of different, ethical concerns and things of that nature because, obviously, that's wrong, and you don't know what you're putting on out there in the population, and folks with those primordial tales or something crazy like that, which is an actual real thing, so and we definitely heavily got off topic here. Yeah. These chimera, but I would say this: I already believe that. To me, they've already had this technology. It's just now that the fallen angel technology is here. Well, we could do this, or we could do that, and again, they're so willing and able to accept everything that they will definitely accept this. Whenever you have things like this, hey, the climate is changing, it's climate change, and in order for us to even have stand a chance, right, they're not being told, okay, well, the DNA, there are issues with the DNA. The moment that they get told about that, they can see it, they can understand it, they feel it, obviously, but they cannot necessarily cope or comprehend what's happening. And I would simply say that it's a coping mechanism. You see these sun challenges and everything else that's going on. Look, I mean, Europe, Sister Chantel, how many folks had been deleted based off of the heat stroke, or excuse me, the heat wave last week in Europe? If you're there, Sister Chantel. All right, that's our UK correspondent. It sounds as though we are having some technical
So
difficulties.
did you answer my question? I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
yeah, the heat. How many folks had been reported to have succumbed to these heat deaths?
Over 1,000, probably climbing still.
Yeah,
Personally,
the
I
numbers.
think it's going to be higher.
Yeah, there are numbers that are being reported, like upwards of 2,500, things of that nature. And of course, they're not going to tell you all of these heat related illnesses, and heat related illnesses. That's not fun, and especially in these times, a lot of people, they do succumb to these heat related illnesses, especially even here in the United States. And especially if you're not able to afford to 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 have AC in your apartment, some folks, especially here in Florida, they're just in the shade, sweltering it on out. And shade is good, but you still need to have water and hydration sources, i.e., still have to have water, clean water. So no, this is definitely not a matter that's just over in Europe. That also happens here in the United States. So I'm trying to explain this in the most respectful manner possible, because again, as people are finding out about this truth, you're going to be on one end of the spectrum or another. You're going to either accept the truth, or you're going to actually, fight against it and join play join different organizations like Patriot Front. I don't know why, but it's vanity. I'm going to fight what the Most High's doing. Okay, you can go ahead. I'm going to fight what the Most High's doing by taking it out on his people. All right. That's the conclusion.
It's funny though how they always were happy to quote scriptures, especially Revelation, and now all of a sudden they keep calling it climate change when the Most High said, "I said what I said." And I'm going to keep doing this because you repent not to give me the glory. I said I was going to do this, and you're calling it something else. You've had this, as it says in Isaiah 40, was it 47? You forgot the latter end of it. You had these scriptures and you saw that it was in there. And yet, now that we are in it, you're now calling it something else. So the more you call it something else, the more the Most High is going to keep hitting you over the head with it until it sticks.
Mm, mm, mm. And he will. And he absolutely will. Wait a sec. Let me make sure you
No,
all can hear me because I may
can you
be
hear me?
blanking on out. Yeah, because I may be blanking out because I of this article.
I was, I, I was just going to say, it's funny how they are appropriating what the Most High said was going to do and
Mm-hmm.
giving it to another entity. You best believe that climate change entity, the name was given and an entity came forth to claim that name. Right? This is look. The Most High is not going to get mad just because of names. The names hold entities. They hold entities. It's not as simple as we already know words have power. There is a power behind these words. So when the Most High has an issue with it, especially a really big issue with it, it's because you're praising another entity. You are giving glory, whether it's negative, it's still glory. It's still, greatness can be whether good or evil, but you're giving that praise to an entity called climate change instead of giving it to
Mm,
the one
to the
that
most.
said he was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So the Most High is the way he said, look, what did he says? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Do you not think that you're putting another entity in place of the Most High? Literally breaks
Come
that
on.
commandment.
Come on.
Just wanted to add that.
Okay. I'm all right because I'm having trouble with this website because I want to share this. I'm having the most extreme trouble. And I know why. I definitely know why. Mm, mm, mm. All right, let me have to. All right, let me jump out. Let me jump out of this one. Dang man, Yahoo News is just okay. There we go. I had to get out of that one. Yahoo News is looking crazy. All right, let me find a better one. Um, because I shouldn't laugh. This isn't really funny, but it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. And I was trying to do Yahoo, but I had to. I'm gonna jump on over to this. Um, and I'm gonna put this one in the website. Put this. I'm gonna put this link on out here in the chat so you all can see what it is. I so on this channel on this platform, I've been saying this for a long time. I said, look, Babylon has been on life support for a minute. Boy, oh boy. There you go. This is from a Matthew Chapman. Massive blunder as news outlet prematurely releases Mitch McConnell. That's as of July 6th. Yesterday evening, last night, Senator Mitch McConnell, Republican Kentucky, has not passed away, at least according to current news reports. But The Hill accidentally published an article clearly intended to be embargoed until he has. The article in question, screenshot and posted to X ahead of its removal, was titled "A Look Back at Mitch McConnell's Time in the Senate," but was prefaced by an all caps warning to site editors saying, "Do not use." McConnell, a decades-long titan in the Senate who previously served as Republican leader, has been in a hospital for weeks after he was reportedly unconscious or discovered unconscious and unresponsive in his home, given CPR for cardiac arrest and taken by Advanced Emergency Support Team. So he was taken by ambulance to the hospital. Few details have been released publicly about his condition since then, although some sources have insisted he is recovering. The White House, or this comes after Laura Loomer, a far right influencer with close ties to the White House, alleged with no evidence, as sources told her McConnell is officially brain dead. Something that no other source has corroborated. Well, you have The Hill stating one thing. Yeah, I'm getting what you would say throttled by YouTube. Whenever you get folks in the chat, whenever you get the live streams, they YouTube throttles you. So that's just how that goes. It's, you already know how this thing goes. And yeah, he did that many times. Oh, we're never gonna have reparation. We're never gonna have this. That's just silly talk. And all the stuff that he did to go after us. Yes, Robert Frost. He says this, and his wife is back in her homeland allegedly. Yeah, his wife is back in China. She was out. She dipped. Why would Mitch's wife? This is what Peekaboo says. Why would Mitch's wife go to China 3 days after this incident? I don't know. Maybe it could have been a case of deletion. I don't know what to tell you. And as I have stated, and I've said this on this channel a couple of times. I said, listen, when you are dealing with a nation, I've said this, a nation. This nation has been on life support for a minute. This nation has been a zombie. This nation has been the Walking Dead. And it starts to self cannibalize. Because the basic functions is to have enough to be able to be viable. Doesn't mean that you're thinking. You don't need to think. You just need to be viable. You just need to be able to consume the resources. As this nation again continues to decline, we all see this. This is why we're talking about the oil and these oil reserves. These things are dangerously low. It's now being reported in parts of Texas that they're running out of fuel. And again, I've lived through that, especially being here in Florida. And I've had to endure a repercussion of not being able to get to my dad over in South Florida when he was going through a stroke episode. I literally could not leave Because number one, there was no fuel, and number two, there was no way for me to physically go down because parts of the highway was still closed because either of wind damage or it was under the water. So the condition that America is in right now is that you now have literally these are zombies at the top. Hey, say this, say that, say this. We gotta get strong again. Say this, say that. Well, what about Iran? Don't worry about Iran. And what Iran did, they had over 100 dignitaries from dozens of countries around the world visit and show their respects to the late Ali Khamenei. Yeah, and see the reality is that even though Cynthia is saying how Texas is full of black gold, yeah, it's full of black gold, but you have to mix that with the blend that comes from the Middle East. Those production facilities have been offline for a while, which means again at the towards the end of this World Cup, and this is what we're towards the end of this World Cup. These nations are now being, well, not these nations, but this nation is now trying to manage a crisis. And I had to think about this morning. What happens when things just shut? And we went through that. We went through that 6 years ago. COVID, things shut down for literally 2 weeks. This has just been a steady decline that we all know it's coming. We all realize what was coming, but they said everything is good. Look, the gas prices are so great. To me, I'm not surprised that we're here. It's crazy that we're here, but I'm not surprised. Because what will they say and what will they do? They're just going to deny, deny, deny. Everything is fine. I guarantee you that's the only thing that they can say. That's the only thing that they can do. Hey, it's up to the governors to manage this crisis. You want to talk about state rights? It's up to the governors. Hey, manage this crisis. What? Yeah, the refinery infrastructure is only tuned for certain types of crude. You saw what happened in Venezuela the other day. I don't think that infrastructure is going to be up and running anytime soon. I'm just saying. Yeah, she's got the Audi belly button. Masha Yahoo says, "To death do you part, until crisis do she part." Audi like a baby's belly button. Yep. She didn't even want to stand it. Look, till death do us part. She said. She said, "Well, he's not even in the, not even buried. Not even the ground. Doesn't that sound like what you see here? Come on now. Thank you, brother Maribel. He says this. He said, I've worked at refineries. They only process crude oil or light crude. They only process light crude. That's why you have the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the SPR, which is now at dangerous levels. Look, there's no coming back from this. They did this. Sorry, that wasn't us. You did it to yourself. Oh boy. Line Pride says, uh, say less, I'm going Chinese takeout, literally. Yeah, yeah, she said see you. My question is this. My question is this. If that's gonna be the case, um are Caucasians gonna be saying, you know what? That there is Asian hate.
Interesting that they want to get involved in this whole thing, isn't it? I I I, I I watched the videos and I see that there was some white man and then some white lesbian looking woman who's had their piece to say, and I'm like, who involved you? And it's like, when you read the scriptures, what do you see? It always says Esau was there, Esau was there, Esau was there. Had an issue with a Hamitic nation, Esau was there. Had an issue with somebody else, Esau was there. Every time there's issues, what does the Bible say? That Esau turned brother against brother. Like, they've always got to get involved because they need to
Wait,
try and
say
find a
that
way to
again.
play.
Say
Hmm?
that again, please. Say that again.
What? Every time that there's an issue, there's a problem, Esau's there. Whenever there's some sort of problem with whoever, he, as the scripture says, Esau turns brother against brother. That's literally in the Bible. They don't even realize that they're literally proving the scriptures right. They are fulfilling the Most High's prophecy, and I'm so fascinated by it. They can't just stay out. They've always got to get involved. It's like, what business is it of yours? Let us do what we need to do. Like, here's the thing: we could solve this. We could solve this, right? This could be solved if it wasn't for their interference with everything.
Mm-hmm.
Half of the problems that we have everywhere is because of them anyway.
Well, well, it's disingenuous because what that is it eggs, and let me tell you, it eggs them on. It eggs on the Asian population because they're going to tell them, well, you're not in the wrong, right? Oh,
Yeah,
you don't need to worry about that. And again, they're
circle
not even
talk.
they haven't even realized that's been the position to pit them against us.
They haven't
And
even realized that
they can't
that's the
realize
reason
it.
why they're where they are in the first place.
Yeah.
Why are you in this country?
Yeah. And it's not, look, and nobody's hating on Asians. Our thing is wake up. Wake up. I'm
Do you want
sorry.
to know
I'm
you want to
I'm
know the funny
sorry. We
thing?
we cannot and let me just tell you how we categorize this. So I can put this in the best way possible.
by and large, I don't have any problems with Asians. I don't.
Nobody loves
You're
Asians more than black people.
yeah,
That's fact.
we don't have any problems with them. We don't. The problem that we've had is those that adopt and practice white supremacy. So for them
Mm,
to understand, hey, you're now going to get the treatment that the rest of the world is getting, especially what Africa's doing with the rest of the world, especially Europe. Resource control. Hey, they're doing it over there in the continent. Look at what's happening in Europe. Oh well, we got to gradually get into the pool because we do not. Okay, fine. They said they were trying to put. Oh, okay, fine. They can't put up a fight against this. They already know that. Once Africa said we're going to deny our resources, once Africa said we're coming together, all of that bickering and infighting that Europe was trying to have Africa engage in, they're at a loss. They're done. How do we get away from the influence of the United States? They're now having closed door meetings. Get out of here. I told you that. Man, that relationship's dead. They're done. They ain't got no more resources or money or power or influence. Because why? Because that was provided to them through the mineral control and resources. Now, do they still have some control? Absolutely they do. But is that control waning? Absolutely it is. And now they're getting mad that once we, as black folks, African Americans, they'll say Moors, and I kind of laugh. Like, do you really understand the context of Moors? It's a slice of history. Moors were literally
that is
under
funny,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, do you not
I
understand that
love when I
Moors were
hear people
literally?
use that.
It's like you understand the construct of Moors were still Yahudin and Moors, Yahudum. It's like
Exactly.
it's like literally saying that we were Europeans. I mean, it's technically true. We were there in Europe, but we don't say that we're Europeans. Oh, that doesn't make any sense. We were there in North Africa.
It's
Yeah,
I laugh when I hear. I'm like, you really don't know the history
it's
of
a
the Moors, do you?
yeah, and again
Like,
they don't understand
really
that.
don't know it,
Yeah, they don't
because
understand that
the
North
Moors trace
Africans.
back to Spain. Like,
Come on, and those
so if you
North
want to call
African.
yourselves the Moors and say that you're uh, what's it, indigenous,
Hmm. Hmm.
you really don't know the history. You
Yeah,
can't claim another name because it sounds better than just being called African American or Black American or whatever, and just claim another name without actually knowing the root history of that name.
it's a pick and choose.
Even down to the term Negro. That's a Spanish. Oh my God.
It's a Spanish
Okay.
name. Yeah, it's a Spanish name. It just
Exactly.
means it means the black. Yeah, Moors means the maroons or the brown folks, the dark, the browns. Look, but who was in those tribes? So when you even understand that you had a lot of Ishmaelites, Edomites, and even Israelites, specifically the Yahudim,
Mm-hmm.
Yahudim, the Yahoos. That's what they called us, Yahoos. That's in there. That's history. And I'm sorry, I digressed a little bit. But again, this entity of nationalism in these campaigns, they're dying out. And that nationalism was based off of what? European influence. And it's dying out. Hey, can we give you this or give you that? You ain't got nothing to give. I was laughing I was laughing because today I was looking at I think it was John Taka reporter, or it may have been Canadian Prepper. But one of them, and it was a pretty, I'm gonna say it was a fair analysis. But the whole point of that was Europe trying to really cry wolf. And we know how Europe is. We understand this is it's their fanaticism. We know that. We understand that. We see that because why? Because I'm going to tell you, here in the United States, as a black man, as an African American, we see that happen all the time. Hey, I called the cops because they looked at me funny. Uh, I called the store manager. They looked at me funny. Well, that's the mechanism. Russia's going to invade Europe because why? Because of why? And it was pretty eloquently stated, and I had to laugh. It's like, so they're going to try to have a pretext that Russia's going to invade Europe, which Europe literally has no resources. All their resources come from everywhere else. Besides what? Potatoes, Sister Chantel, and coal?
Potato and coal, as I keep saying.
You see what I'm saying? So
Bit of
I'm gonna
charcoal.
call the cops on you. I'm gonna say all this stuff on you so I can then have you removed so I can take over your resources. Everybody knows that's how the game is played. And that game isn't working. It's not working anymore. Well, I'm going to remove your person that did not, it didn't fall in line with us if you're an African country, and I'm going to put somebody else in that's going to give us control of the resources. That's not working anymore. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked, I would say, since 2022. And now this is a year of reckoning. 2026, this is a year of reckoning. You had that one French politician. Oh, well, it's going to be this and this and this. I already knew when he opened his mouth up to say that in May, the Sahel's not going to be along much longer. I already knew that was fake. When Trump says fake news, that was fake news. Because why? Because it wasn't for Africa. It wasn't even for Europe. The target audience was for the United States. Yeah, that's right. Get your Negroes in line. Get your black folks. Get them Africans in line. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. See, I told you. Yep, as long as you get your Negroes in line, everything is good. And then they're coming back to Africa. Hey, you already know we have to make good with the United States or else we can go through our own, economic destabilization.
I just wanted to say shalom to everyone because I've got to go. I've got to head out. I've got a couple of things I need to do. But
No worries.
thank you for letting me come up. And I just want to say to everyone, shalom, have a good day, stay hydrated, and look after yourself. And keep yourself concealed from the dark ones, i.e. them. Anyway, I hope everyone enjoys themselves. Shalom.
All right, shalom. Thank you, Sister Chantel. Yeah, and listen, I did cover some very, very controversial topics today, but it's the truth, and the more that you can't ignore this, because here's the thing, they're not ignoring it. They know. They know where they're standing at. They understand these pivotal climatic moments. And again, I always tell you this. Why do you think they don't want to look at history? Because they're doing the same roadmap. Yeah, Prime Minister Carney, which is the Prime Minister of Canada, come on out and say, yep, history is repeating itself. What history? They don't want to tell you what history is repeating themselves. We all know what history is repeating itself. We see it. We understand it. Hey, Babylon, we would have healed you. But now you went crazy. You're up on that life support. You got that little bit of they pump Babylon with that little bit of adrenaline. I told you that. Babylon got pumped with that Venezuelan adrenaline. It's like a 100-year-old trying to get into a ring with the Iron Sheik. Come on, you whippersnapper. I'm going to box your ears good. All right. You got a little good punch in me, old man. All right. All the while, you're hearing, look, Irene is like, get your boy. Get your boy. I'm trying to tell you, get your boy. Oh, we're going to finish the job. As he's wearing boxing gloves and walking around the ring with the oxygen tank canister, obviously strapped to the back. No, we're not there like that. Listen. Did you see the message about or put out about those who don't love America should be exiled? They're traitors. We may be leaving soon. Okay, says the person. Okay, I like to see what his birth certificate and passport says. I like to see his naturalization paperwork before he says anything. Over 250 years has can Americans say with a straight face that they actually loved us? Not for what we win in the Olympics, not for what we invent, not for what we provide. I love you because you provide so much wealth for me. That's not love. That's utility. I only love you because you make money for me. That's Zechariah chapter 11. Chapter 11, verse 5. That's it. Ask our young men and women that's exposed. Ask our young man out there in Mississippi that went to the state park with his friends on 4th of July, and he's no longer here with us. Love is reciprocated. Love is actually an action verb. Yeah, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, that's the love verb. You know what? And you want to know what? They never read that. They never read it. Love is persevering, long suffering. They don't read that. They don't know it. Sorry, they don't. We've persevered and long suffered for over 250 years. And we just said, you know what? It's too much. Let's sit on down somehow. I like to know. Excuse me, Elon. How many wars did you fight in? What's your military service? Get out of here. Shut up. Nobody cares about your AI project of enslaving Americans. They may listen to your dog whistles. Go ahead and go to space in the firmament, and look, you're going to get a nice injection in your arm. You know what I think of every time he says that whole Mars thing? I'm going to tell you. Does anybody remember Heaven's Gate? I've mentioned this on this channel a lot. The Heaven's Gate cult. Give me a 1 if you remember Heaven's Gate cult. Give me a 2 if you don't know what I'm talking about. Give me a 1. Give me a 1 if you remember. Give me a 2 if you don't know. Oh, so appropriate. So appropriate. It's funny, but it's really not funny. It's sad. They're trying to do a Heaven's Gate on the whole United States. How crazy is that? Don't worry, we're going to copy your digital likeness. Okay. So, all right. So, Heaven's Gate. This is back in 1999. I believe it was back in 1999. I just remember this because I must have been about 16 or 17 years old, and I was like, this is some crazy mess. This happened in San Diego. And I think they had a documentary about this on HBO, if I'm not mistaken. And the dude just looked real whacked out. Like you could tell he just had demons upon demons on him. It was just pretty sad. And these people believed what he was saying. He said, "Oh yeah, we have to disembody, okay? We have to disembody ourselves so we can get caught up with the spacecraft that's on the other side of the moon that will then take us to our celestial planetary home, which is a couple million light years away." So, in their devotion to this crazy, it is, they plan to make sure that they were taken up on that particular day. Yeah, it was in conjunction with the comet. That's right. They drank their little Jim Jones juice contraption. Come on. Oh, boy. Jerry Jones said it. Jermaine Sloan says, Brother Jermaine says, he'll make his home among the stars. Oh, man. Once they drank the juice, it was actually one of the family members that got concerned and said, I I think something bad has happened to my dad or something like that, and the people that he follows, and they're in some weird stuff, and they're gonna do something really crazy, because they started giving their stuff away. Oh, I'm getting on a spaceship. This time it's gonna be cooler. I'm going to Mars. Why? Because the whole government is there, and and they're giving trillions of dollars. It was a Haley. Yeah, it was. It was the Haley Bob comment. Yes, it was. Because it was like it's over at the comet, and the spaceship is waiting by the moon. It was something crazy. Now, just think about how crazy that was back in 1999. We're talking about almost 30 some years ago. Think about that then, and think about that now. Now, it's more sophisticated now. The wickedness is more sophisticated. Hey, we don't have any influence anymore, so guess what? We're just going to perform group seppuku. That's the Japanese form of self-deletion. By imagining a vain imagination. Yeah, vain imaginations are dangerous. They're deadly. Who wants to pay who wants to pay billions and trillions of dollars? Your likeness in your memorial is going to be in a data center. Digital AI graveyards. I'm just saying. Why? Because it's of the grave. It's of death. It's a death culture. You're killing out what? Your resources, and then you're going to kill out what? Your population. That's just my personal opinion. Hey, I may be crazy. I never said that I was sane. I told you that. Did I ever say I was sane? No. No. I'm not saying, but I know who is Yahusha. The word, there you go. Y'all see where this is going? You can't make this up. Now they're just trying to do it on a time scale of, all right, if I can't get to a war, if I can't get to a famine, and that dude looks so crazy too. Yes, we're gonna be. His eyeballs are all bulging and bucking out. Just, we're going to go on an intergalactic tour. That is crazy. And now look at all the lying wonders and delusions that they have on out here. Yeah, they're gonna make it, but AI has to come to that point, right? AI has to get to that point to where, dang, oh, this is man. All they're gonna do is go to a remote behind area in Saudi Arabia and take some photos, take some pictures, take some drone shots. Look, we're here. We're establishing our colony to get people to go with that strong delusion. Why? Because it's easier just to put that on out there. Hey, did you pray about anything? No. No, I believe. I believe it. Can you pray about it? No, yeah, there's no point. It does no because you just means that you're doubting. I always tell people, whatever you do, whatever you do, whatever you give, whatever you provide, whatever you support, pray about it. I'm not here to try to rush or hurry people on up. Pray about it. Yahuwah will give you an answer. He will answer you. He will let you know. Man, that's why. That was it. There have been so many times if the Most High had not intervened. Wow. What are you gonna do? You gonna trust man or you gonna trust the Most High? I trust the Most High all the time. That's it. Now let me go ahead and let me pray about this real quick. Just one more time. You gotta hurry. No. Let me pray. Let me figure this on out. You know what the Most High will do? He'll answer you. Yep. 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 And you got a plan of action. Okay, well, let me do this. Let me do that. Well, hallelujah, it panned out. Hallelujah. Thank you, Father. Thank you for more confirmation. Or thank you, Father. Thank you that I didn't get suckered into that. You know what that is? I'm just gonna tell you. You know what it is. You know what that's what they're trying to do. You know what they're trying to cause. And I need to be very careful about what I'm saying here because of YouTube. What YouTube will censor, because everything that you do is a choice. See, this is what they don't want to tell you about these times. Everybody can choose this day, right now. Do you want to follow Yahuwah or do you want to follow the system? I made my choice. I'm going to follow Yahuwah no matter what. I have decided to follow Yahusha. I have decided to follow Yahusha. I have decided to follow Yahusha. No turning back. No turning back. Look, y'all know what I'm talking about. No turning back. Is it going to be hard? Is it going to be tough? Absolutely. But guess what? He's got us. And it's awesome to be covered by a righteous and awesome Elohim who loves all those that call on his name. Yes, Yahudim. Yes, Israelite. Yes. He loves all those that call on his name. Yes, Gentiles. He loves all those that call on his name. I can't deny you. I don't know how much longer we have here in Babylon. I'm just telling you, there are mechanisms that are now in place. that when this thing happens, it's going to be like, what? Where did that come from? To me, I think, and I look at it as, oh yeah, Trump's probably the perfect scapegoat. Because why? Because he's got these people so spiritually and morally corrupt that they'll just believe anything that he says. All right, cool. And it will be greater and it will be the best. I had somebody send me a video the other day, and I'll start to wrap this up. But this is interesting. I had somebody send me a video the other day. It was an Al Jazeera report regarding the deportations. And when the deportations were happening, last year and things of that nature, there are a couple of African countries that signed up to receive the deportees and everything else. And to me, it's basically it's just another form of human trafficking. They're just now trying to put some legalese on it. But Ghana had said this. They said, "Listen, we're going to accept only individuals from West Africa, so we can actually work with their countries, their governments, to return them back home." To me, I'm like, okay, that's a fair point. It's an arrival. Let's get you where are you from, and let's get you back home, and not disappeared into a system somewhere. But I also looked at it like this, because they don't do anything for an altruistic motive or anything else. It's not from the goodness of their heart or anything. But I looked at it like they're doing a test run. What does that look like for those that don't voluntarily get up on out of here? Well, that's just my thoughts. Because everything that they do to test and see how viable is that. Oh, okay, okay, I guess this can work. I think this can work. But the way that goes, again, what people don't like to look at is history. What is Trump to these people? Trump, the Most High, literally has made Trump like a god to these people, like a Moses to these people. Because why? He's going to get them out of their debt. He's going to get them out of their financial circumstances. He's going to lead them to the promised land. All of that stuff. Why do you think that you can't talk to him or have a conversation with him? You can't tell him nothing. And now, what are they doing? They're doing a trial run for one of the greatest expulsions in human history. Just in my opinion. And I know a lot of people don't like to listen or believe it, and that's okay. Like my grandmother would say, people don't believe that snakes crawl. But again, if you see things happening and you're not able to really discern or understand, well, the word literally says that they're in spiritual blindness. So be of good courage. When our people were, when I was talking about this and explaining these things, especially a couple months ago, you know, and our people would be like, I don't know, I don't know, I don't think so. I was listening, I saw that it was voiced. I'm looking at it on this channel, on this platform, and other platforms. I don't know. I can't believe it. I don't think that that's going to be done. I don't. I said, look, things are happening in the background. They're happening in the background. And then all of a sudden, Ghana makes a declaration. All of that, I don't know. I don't think it can be done. The conversation started to change. Oh, wait a second. It's actually being done. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. The Pope said something? Oh, boy. They're just what they would say is they're priming, they're preparing the operational environment. It's an operation or preparing an operational environment. I look at ICE as something completely different. It's a gendarmerie, a civilian led system or structure to do exactly what I've been speculating. You know, speculating is just my opinion. Because again, when you have a loss of influence and power, that you got to remember, for people of vanity and vain imagination, that's a bankruptcy. We told you. It's not just a moral bankruptcy, it's now a physical bankruptcy. So be of good cheer. The Most High, again, is working on our behalf. Yeah, you may not see it, you may not understand it. It may look just downright crazy, but the Most High is doing it. And he's doing an awesome job at it. Look, we serve an awesome Elohim. That's why I said, family, please pray for me, because there are things going on in the background. The Most High is good, getting some clarity. These, as these things go, we all know how the Most High is moving. He is moving in this age, in this generation, in this time. Gentiles, y'all are gonna have to go through some hard choices. I'm gonna tell you, Gentiles, just the same as I tell everybody else, pray about it. I'm not here to say things in hate. I don't. This is in love. You get mad at me because I'm telling you the truth. I get it. I know, but I'm gonna tell you the truth, because why? Because y'all had to deal with me. Y'all had to deal with my heart. This isn't about us. This is about us being a light to the nations. I can't hide my light. I'm sorry. That's not how the Most High designed me nor us. Oh, you have a big mouth. I do. That's what gets me in trouble. Because why? Because I serve the Most High. I really do. Even to financial peril. I do. Because that's how much he loves me. That's how much he loves us. All those that call on his name. That's it. Through the blood of his son, Yahushua HaMashiach. That's it. Nothing's changed. Them scriptures are still the same today, tomorrow, as they were yesterday. It's just that in this time of our awakening, that was the time that everything was being revealed. It's our responsibility to do as the Most High is calling us to do. So that's all I got, family. I got to get up on out of here. With that said, Most High willing, I'll be back on here with you tomorrow. Thank you again, family, for your gifts and your prayers, your support. It does truly mean a lot as I am working on some of these things here in the background because it can start to get very daunting. It can start to get very overwhelming. It can. But I know who I'm doing it for. So again, I appreciate it. Thank you again for your support over at QTUA. QTUA. They're doing big things over there. So we're working on getting things up and going in the background, bringing things back to and getting things better to align with the mission and the mission structure because things are, again, they're moving in a very mighty way. So again, with that said, family, got to get going. And with that, shalom, salama, siemi, shalom, peace and blessings, Yasharel.